Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'll be reviewing The Iron Claw. So this film is about the story of the Von Erich wrestling family and kind of the tragedy that took place in the 1980s during the height of their fame and the height of their power as a wrestling family. And I have to say right away, I knew nothing about the story. I'm not a huge wrestling fan, so I didn't know how I would feel going into it. But this movie was incredible. I think it is gut-wrenching and heartbreaking and touching all at the same time. Zac Efron as Kevin Von Erich was one of the best performances that I've seen this year. I honestly feel that it's very possible he could be nominated for multiple awards. It's the best that I've seen him on screen. I've seen him develop as an actor since, the very early days. The High School Musical films are actually some of my guilty pleasure, favorite movies. So to be seeing him come from that to this is really remarkable. He's playing someone who truly cares about his brothers, and it shows kind of the love that you have for your sibling in a way that maybe I haven't seen on screen before. There's this sibling rivalry that takes place in this film that kind of is taken to the extremes, and you see the detriment of how that is played out, and then you get to see him play almost like a father-like figure to his younger brothers and trying to make everyone rise up with him while still trying to accomplish his dreams. And there's some really nuanced scenes that he has where he's trying to do everything he can for his family, but at the same time achieve his own dreams, like I said. So having that combination and that struggle, he was able to execute it really well. And of course, if you've seen the trailers or you've seen the physical transformation that he made for this film, there's a lot of tough physical acting in this movie. There's a lot of wrestling in this movie. It isn't a movie that has one or two wrestling bouts in it to it. Most of the film involves wrestling and the toll it takes on their bodies. So both the emotional and physical performance, specifically from Efron, was just fantastic. I think all the supporting characters that play the other brothers in the film also do a good job. Jeremy Allen White as Kerry Von Erich also has to bring a lot of physicality to his role. He's a little more soft-spoken, so he has to act more through his facial expressions and kind of his rage exploding from him. He's kind of the most volatile of the brothers, and seeing his struggle and what he goes through as an individual, he had some obviously very emotional scenes as well, but kind of that chemistry between the leader of this family and then the younger siblings and kind of them trying to rise up with one another. I think the chemistry worked perfectly. Hol Melany as Fritz Von Erich, the father of this group, he also did a really good job. He's a character that you watch and you're hating this individual for what he's doing, but he's trying to accomplish something that no one else could do. So there's two layers to it. You're watching obviously a troubled individual that doesn't seem to care about the problems that are happening in his family and pushing his sons to the absolute limit, obviously resulting in some terrible, terrible consequences. And I think the conflict of these characters coming together and trying to fight back against a very oppressive but very powerful individual were some of the best scenes. They don't want to lash out their father because their father has brought them this level of success and he's the thing that's getting them to the top of the mountain, but he's destroying them in the process. And I think that idea of pressure put on a child by a parent is really apparent in this film. We've seen it in other films that involve athletics, pushing a child to their absolute limits, but seeing this as a real story and seeing the physical and emotional toll that it takes on everyone involved, I think elevates the film to another level. The wrestling scenes, I think, were excellently choreographed. They felt real, they felt heavy, they felt like there was hard hits happening. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. Even as someone like me who's not a fan of wrestling at all, I don't enjoy it, I don't watch it, I was fully engrossed in those scenes. And I think they help break apart a very, like I said, somber, sobering, and heartbreaking story. I will have to mention, if you're someone who's followed this story or you know about what happened, Chris Von Erich doesn't appear in the film. He's kind of omitted apparently because of the runtime of the film, which I didn't really enjoy. I'd love to see all the stories because they each have their own individual kind of feelings that you get from what's happening to these young men, seeing them, fall apart physically and mentally. And I feel like you could even drive it further home by showing even more of what happened. And if, like I said, if you're someone who knows, you'll probably notice that right away. I looked up this story immediately. As the film was happening, I was like, I need to see if this is real. This feels almost impossible. These different kind of things that are happening to them. And it felt like the Von Erich curse is real. You're watching it and it is, like I said, I can't say anything else, but it's heartbreaking. So overall, if I were to rate The Iron Claw, I would actually give it a 9 out of 10. I think it is one of the best films of the year. It really surprised me as someone, like I said, who's not a fan of the sport, to be able to go into this and see phenomenal performances. It doesn't feel manipulative. A lot of these sports films, they feel manipulative. It's an underdog. It's telling a story of triumph. Well, that can be fun and enjoyable. This movie is a really human story. It's a really deep dive into sibling love and rivalry and the pressure put on people by their parents and trying to achieve something So I think it hits on all levels, and I think there's something there for everyone in this one. So if you end up checking out The Iron Claw, let me know what you thought about it. I always love to hear people's opinions, specifically if you didn't like the movie, because every time I'm really high up on a movie and I love it, I love to hear people that maybe have something that I missed that maybe is a criticism of it. So leave those comments down below. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.